What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Titan MX Customs. Today we're going to be starting a new series. We're going to be flipping bikes, turning them over for some profit. Today we are going to start with a 2016 CRF250R, the little brother to the 450 I'm building over on the other series. If you haven't checked those videos out, make sure to tune in for those. But needless to say, we got to get these plastics off, look at what we're working with. I want to get you guys some better shots so you can see just how roached out this is. Plus, the engine's blown up, so we got to figure that out. Stay tuned. Let's get into it. Yeah! Alright guys, while I'm taking apart this bike, getting it prepped for power washing, just want to do a quick backstory. I bought this bike literally yesterday as a time of recording from a private seller. He got me a great deal on it, couldn't pass it up. But that being said, there's a bunch of things that we do have to do. We have to do the fork seals, rear wheel bearing, change that chain out. Obviously the elephant in the room is the motor is blown, so we're going to have to tear that apart, figure out exactly what happened. Spoiler alert, you'll find out at the end of the episode. And just a few quality of life things like new grips. The clutch lever still works, but it is broken, so we're going to fix that and clean up some painted parts. That way it looks stock, and then obviously shine up the frame, maybe change out the handlebars. I haven't decided on that yet. They look pretty straight to me. Also, sorry for the mic quality, guys. For some reason my main mic isn't working, so I'm using my Bluetooth mic. Now that we got all those main plastics off and we unmounted the gas tank, we'll move over to power washing. Bike is pretty clean, but we're just going to spend a little bit more time cleaning it up, shining it up, doing what we can right off the get-go, and making sure that all around the engine is very clean. That way I can see exactly what I'm working with. Moving on to the engine oil, we are going to be draining the engine and transmission oil. If you guys aren't familiar with this bike, there are two separate systems, two different drain plugs, and two different fill points. And that's where a lot of people mess up. They drain one and then they fill the other. So you're running no oil on one side and double oil on the other, which is a perfect recipe for disaster, which is what happened to this bike. Look at that. Woo. There we go. Finally cracking into the top end, guys. Just pulling out the spark plug now, looking at it. It actually looks pretty good, so that's a good sign. And then from what I could tell through the spark plug hole, there wasn't much going on that was leading to a seizure. But cracked open this valve cover and didn't find anything. Everything felt great. So I went to try and turn it over, and I actually got it to turn over. It was a little chunky, and something's definitely seized somewhere. I just don't, at this point, I don't know where. So this is just me kind of going through the process of figuring that out, seeing if I can pinpoint it. So at this point in the diag process, I got the engine to turn over, and I'm kicking it over to see if I can't get it to lock up at a certain point in the 4-stroke cycle, maybe at TDCC, hoping that it just jumped timing and that we need to move the teeth over on the cam lobes to get it to situate itself back. But there was something off, didn't feel great. Turning it over, there was definitely something grinding somewhere. So further diag is needed. We're pulling off the head, and good news is the piston, cylinder, and combustion chamber all look amazing. Didn't drop a valve or anything, and there was no piston to valve contact. So that is very good news. Won't have to replace some major parts there, but we still need to go even further and figure out what exactly failed.
I just realized the camera's recording. I'm over here talking like a lady.
Woohoo! What's that for?
That is not good.
Alright, well this is worst case scenario, I don't know. Maybe we're doing a full rebuild on this now. Alright guys, like you just saw and you just heard me, that is worst case scenario for labor wise, but arguably best case scenario because it should be a pretty straightforward fix, just crank bearings and maybe some minor additional stuff here and there, and then just a whole lot of cleaning to make sure there's no metal debris left in those cases. But right now, just a quick time lapse of me pulling the engine out because we need to get this thing out so we can do a full rebuild. I feel like I was just rebuilding the 450 motor, which if you guys thought I forgot about that, no, we're just waiting on a couple of back-ordered parts and then that 450 will be completely done. And if you're like, what 450 are we talking about? I'm talking about my CRF250R that I'm doing a full from the ground up rebuild. If you like this type of content, make sure to go over to the channel and check out that series because that is this series times 10.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for the first episode of flipping the CRF250R. We got the top end torn apart all the way. We found out our crank is absolutely toast. Definitely going to have to replace that. Next episode, we're going to figure out just what did it to the crank to make it blow up like that. Stay tuned for the next episode. If you like this, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.